suspects arrested in the G Lil Ronnie case, and it's a female involved. The community is still in shock, and so am I.
Tune in to Bust Up.
Talk, where the trends ignite. Dive deep in the convo, let your thoughts take flight. Engage with the moment, join the vibrant spree. Your go-to for insights, come and chat with me.
Thank you for tuning in into today's podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Mr. LG, and this is the space where I share my thoughts on the topic that matters the most in our communities. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, click that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and hit that bell for notifications on future episodes. You can also follow me on X. And if you feel generous today, consider donating to support the podcast. Links are down below. Before diving into our main topic, there's an important update in the world of business that I want to touch on. Crypto market is taking a dive right now, and I'll be honest, I'm feeling the pinch myself. Despite the volatility, I see this as a prime opportunity to buy the dip. When everyone else is running scared, that's when I'll lean in and grab what I can. It's all about perspective and the timing in this game. Now let's get on to what's truly shaking our community, the shocking arrest of two suspects in the G Lil Ronnie case, and yes, a female accomplice is reportedly involved. The news has left many of us in disbelief, myself included. Just to recap, the suspects who have been arrested include 21-year-old Jacoby Russell and 24-year-old Adonis Robinson, who was apprehended in Livingston, northeast of Houston. Russell turned himself in shortly thereafter, perhaps realizing the walls were closing in on him. The pressure was on, and it's no surprise that on the streets, with a face like being plastered everywhere, he has nowhere to hide. The reality is brutal. You commit such a heinous act, and there's no safe harbor. The female accomplice, on the other hand, is believed to have been acting as the getaway driver during this tragic event. While there hasn't been solid evidence pointing to a female arrest, both bloggers and the mother of Lil Ronnie's child are suggesting otherwise, claiming a woman was arrested alongside Robinson. The mother seems convinced there's more to the story, thinking it may be part of a wider conspiracy. And honestly, with the way things are unfolding, I find myself leaning towards that belief as well. There are whispers about a potential beef involving another local rapper, CJ Casino, possibly connecting to the incident. Of course, right now it remains speculation, but in situations like these, we know the truth has a way of surfacing. We must remember that ultimately someone will likely decide to snitch. That's how these things play out, especially when the stakes are this high. Capital murder charges carry the weight of the death penalty, and none of these individuals are likely interested in facing those consequences alone. One unsettling detail that haunts me is that the fact that these suspects are younger than the victim, Lil Ronnie. It really raises questions about respect and the culture that surrounds these acts of violence. It takes an utter lack of humanity to pull the trigger, especially when there's a baby in the vicinity. As someone who lost family members to similar violent incidents, my nephews, Team Eastside Snoop and Lil Walter, I can empathize with what these families are grappling with. It's a wound that never fully heals, a scar that time cannot erase. The mother of Lil Ronnie's child believed this was a paid hit, and it's hard not to wonder if she's on to something. The implications of such a claim could shake our community for years to come. As this story breaks, it's making waves throughout the podcast circuit, and for good reason. We salute those internet investigators whose efforts seem instrumental in piecing together this heartbreaking puzzle. It's also clear that law enforcement is not dismissing the possibility of a larger conspiracy at play. For those out there listening, take threats seriously. It's easy to think you're safe when you're with loved ones, but in these times, you have to be vigilant. If you find yourself in a precarious situation, especially when children are involved, it may be best to keep them out of your dealings. G Lil Ronnie might not have been an angel, but he also didn't strike me as someone who would recklessly put children in harm's way. Whoever orchestrated this tragedy is surely not going to want their name connected to the murder of a child. The anger in our community is palpable. It's important to understand that these two suspects will have their supporters, albeit misguided. While it's crucial to uphold justice, I must clarify this podcast does not condone their actions, and my thoughts are with the grieving families. Let's not forget the possibility of connections to CJ Casino here. If the rumors are true and one of the suspects has ties to him, you should wonder how deep this rabbit hole goes. As soon as they start talking, you hope your name isn't caught up in the mix. Because this was indeed a paid hit, it's questionable whether the suspect received much, if anything at all. There's a dangerous culture out there. It's a dangerous culture out there where reckless behavior is sometimes mistaken for credibility or stripes. And that's just plain foolishness. Some people are understandably questioning that Lil Ronnie fled from the car, leaving the child behind. My initial take, I believe he might have been trying to draw attention away from the little girl, trying to protect her in a twisted way. Ultimately, however, it appears far too late for that. And tragically, the innocent child has already lost her life. Now back to these two, or potentially even three or more involved. When you try to devise these so-called elaborate schemes to pull off a hit while leaving a trail of clues behind, you've thrown your life away in a nanosecond. Your mind is nowhere near right. In prison, they often say there's a special place of contempt reserved for those who harm children. Now let's face it, the money supposedly offered for this job, they could have made that same sum working a side gig instead of throwing their futures away. Furthermore, this is shocking, but in a way not surprising. Rap beefs that go too far is not surprising. Rappers who still got their feet in the streets is not surprising. I'm not shocked one bit. It doesn't surprise me this was done in broad daylight, or they had high-powered weapons. They chased this guy down to make sure he was hit. So it's more to this story. Jacoby Russell's mugshot looks like this guy hasn't had any sleep. He looked worried. He looked like he had been crying. He looked scared. But that's no excuse. I want to know how it led to these particular individuals. I will keep an eye out for this case. Salute to the West Coast for listening to this podcast and my returning listeners. As we wrap this episode today, I'll leave you with this question. Do you think these suspects will start singing? Given their circumstances, it wouldn't surprise me one bit. Thanks for joining me on this heavy topic today. Let's continue supporting our community and standing against violence in all forms. Until next time, stay safe out there and let's uplift one another. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters.